special update for you. Today's date is September 11th of 2020. Now, of course, today we're discussing the USDA WASDE report, the supply-demand update, which was just released. Now, as far as going through the numbers on the corn side, on the old crop discussion, looks like USDA did make a moderate increase in the old crop stocks there, going from 2.235 billion to now 2.253. Now, this was made with a small change as far as ethanol usage, up 5 million bushels. They did drop the old crop export numbers by 30, though. Now, as far as new crop, which is current, our big focus for right now in this corn, looks like we did see a 500,000 acre decline on harvested to now 83.5. That was the trade discussion point. It looks like the yield side dropping from that 181.8 to now 178.5, very close to the average trade estimate of 178.3. So this resulted in a production decline of 378 million bushels, which was pretty much on the trade expectation. Over on the demand side of things here, we did see an offset there, 100 million bushels off of feed residual, 100 million bushels off of the ethanol usage as well, which we had discussed before as might be a realistic discussion here. So that was addressed on this report. And as far as the export side, USDA did counterbalance some of those other demand declines with a 100 million bushel increase for the export side. So bottom line for us, we did see stocks decline from 2.756 last month to now 2.503. This number was just a little over the average trade estimate of 2.451. Over on the world side for corn, we did see some moderate changes there. USDA left the 2021 harvest estimate for Argentina unchanged. They did add 3 million tons to the Brazil estimate, now 110 million tons. A small decline for Ukraine was also noted, and a small decline was for European Union production was also noted. Now keep in mind for this report, there are no changes for USDA's viewpoint on China's corn production or China's corn import numbers, still left at 7 million tons on the import number there. Now, as far as the discussion point on soybeans, we did see some moderate changes to the old crop balance sheet, going from 600 million bushels to now 575 million bushels. This was made with a 10 million bushel increase for crush. Looks like exports were also raised as well, and a small change on the feed, on the seed and residual change there as well. Over on new crop, USDA did not adjust any harvested acres. This was expected. And as far as yields, these were lowered to 51.9 bushels per acre. So as far as the trade estimate here, a little higher than the average trade guess, right on top of Allendale's overall estimates, though. Production was lowered to 112 million bushels on this report. I find it really interesting, though, as far as crush use, that was left unchanged. Also, a little controversial, they left exports unchanged. This does leave the door open, so to speak, in the trade's mind for future increases on exports, very likely in the coming months. So keep that in mind. USDA's export number might still be in question right now. And ending stocks were lowered from 610 million bushels to now 460. That was very close to the average trade estimate. As far as a world discussion on soybeans, USDA did not adjust the Argentine crop estimate for this coming spring 2021 harvest. They did add 2 million tons to the Brazilian estimate, though, now 133 million tons. Looking at the China balance sheet for USDA, no changes at all there. No changes for Chinese soybean production, no changes for the import or domestic usage estimate there either. As far as a wheat discussion point, looks like we do have no changes at all on the domestic balance sheet for the completed old crop, which finished up back in May, or the current new crop as well. Now, keep in mind, USDA will be making their final adjustment to the 2020 harvest estimate on the September 30th small grains summary report. So this no change for production on this report, and USDA left all of the demand numbers unchanged as well. Over on the world side, we're actually looking really closely at a lot of these world numbers because we had suggested USDA might need to make some adjustments there. Now, on the decline groupings, looks like they did drop Argentina another 1 million bushel or 1 million ton. Last month, they dropped them by 500,000 ton. And as far as the European Union, which has been a key problem of this year, a little surprise, USDA added 0.6 million tons to that current estimate there. Now, our big estimate, or our big concern actually, is the issue about these rising production estimates, which have been needed, and USDA has been kind of dragging their feet on this issue. Australia was raised by 1.5 million tons on this report. Canada was raised by 2 million tons. The big question for us about Russia, where we have these private analysts saying 82 million tons, now actually higher than 82. Here's USDA leaving their number unchanged from last month at 78 million tons. That's a little controversial, and keep in mind that still leaves a wild card of maybe a little bearish information in future reports. So as far as the general discussion for us on the corn side, ending stocks did come in just a little higher than the average trade guess. We don't expect that to mean any major movement as far as price for the most part, though. Soybean side, USDA's numbers on the ending stocks did fall to the roughly very close to the average trade guess. You can call that neutral, but like we mentioned, the export discussion for USDA's number is very controversial. It's very likely that will need to be increased in future reports. And as far as wheat, like we mentioned, no change on the domestic balance sheet. World numbers, USDA has a looming bearish wild card in future reports, but for the most part, we'll call this number mostly neutral here today. So any questions about markets, how to trade in this environment, or how to market grain in this environment, give Allendale a call, 1-800-262-7538.